concert of some by the students from different modules that they take part in. The first, my name is Johnny Scott, by the way. I teach guitar here and I also teach some of the groups. You're going to see the first two bands, third year. So I'll introduce this and then the other lecturers can introduce their artists. So let's have the first band. This is the third year group. Which I teach once a week. There's five bands, and this year we're starting to teach singer-songwriter type music. The artists I would look at would be like J.J. Cale, Tom Waits, James Wheeler, Katie Lang, Tony Mitchell, Bob Dylan, Morrison, that sort of thing. Get the idea. And the first thing I try and teach them is to play quiet. Easier said than done. So this is, no, let me get this right. This is Claire, Katie, Sean, Kate, Labis. Labis has come all the way from Greece. How about that? And James, who hasn't. What I introduce, there are going to be three songs. No, three songs. The first one is Carole King. It's too late, baby, it's too late. And then I'll let them introduce their own thing now. So, can you switch off your mobile phone? Don't want any record companies or management companies fighting over you. Yeah. You just switch them off because it interferes with all this jiggery bookery up here. Anyway, Maestro, take it away.
Just to pass the time. There is something wrong here, there can be no denying. One of us is changing, or maybe we just stopped trying. But it's too late, baby, now it's too late. Though we really did try to make it. Something inside is dying. Can't fake it. Used to be so easy living here with you. You were light and breezy and I knew just what to do. Now you look so unhappy and I feel like a fool. But it's too late, baby, now it's too late. Though we really did try to make it. Something inside is died and I can't hide and I just can't fake it. Oh no. There'll be good times again for me and you, but we just can't stay together. Don't you feel it too? Still, I'm glad for what we had and how I once loved you. Can I be your favorite? 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 Thank you.
It's worth mentioning that last song Claire actually wrote herself. There's a songwriting module that you do in third and fourth year on New Whelan. It's one of the lectures in that module. And the standard has been really high. So we're going to have our second third year band up now. Something completely different. Are we on here?
Can you hear me? Yeah. They've instructed me to speak through a microphone. It's more incriminating. Broadcasting the world. Hello, world. Anyway, so there we are. Last but by no means least. So we've got this is the third year band again that I teach. This is Gerald, Troy, Padraig, Timothy, Matthew, Labis is in hot demand, Peter on drums, and Peter on piano. So, gentlemen, take it away.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hitting a million in a drop dead suit, Dutch bank on a downtown train, $2 pistol but the gun won't shoot. I'm in the corner in the pouring rain, 16 men on a dead man's chest. I've been drinking from a broken cup, 2 pairs of pants and a mohair vest. I'm full of bourbon and I can't stand up. Hey little bird, fly away home, your house is on fire, children are alone. Hey little bird, fly away home, your house is on fire, children are alone. Schiffler broke it off of Morgan's head, I'm stepping on the devil's tail, across the stripes from a full moon's head, all through the bars of a Cuban jail. Bloody fingers on a purple knife, flamingo drinking from a cocktail glass. I'm on the lawn with someone else's wife, admire the view from the top of the mast, singing, hey little bird, fly away home, your house is on fire, children are alone. Hey little bird, fly away home, your house is on fire, children are alone.
yellow sheets on a Hong Kong bed. Stays home from a Slingerland ride to the carnival is what she said. Couple $100 make a dock inside. Heading a million in a drop dead suit. Dutch pink on a downtown train. $2 pistol but the gun won't shoot. I'm in the corner in the pouring rain singing, hey little bird, fly away home. The house is on fire, children are alone. Hey little bird, fly away home. Your house is on fire, children are alone. Hey little bird, fly away home. Your house is on fire, children all alone. Hey little bird, fly away home. Your house is on fire, Thank you all so much. Next song we're going to do is a song by Ron Sexsmith, and it's called I'm Not Too Big on That. I never really listened to him before this course, but now I'm doing one of my favorite songs by him, so hope you enjoy.
1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa!
I'm not too big on parties, never know what to say. Everywhere I've stand, I've seen to be in somebody's way. Well, I don't mind conversation or a friendly chat, but to stand alone in a crowded room, I'm not too big on that. Not too big on that. No.
I'm not too big on dancing to somebody else's tune. Fill your head as if it were a hot air balloon. Till you're too big for your britches, too big for your hat. Till your own mother don't recognize you. I'm not too big on that. Not too big on that. No.
Having a hard time sleeping in sound, believe it or not. Having a hard time keeping it down. All this food for thought.
I'm not too big on talking if my mind ain't worked it out. Best to have people think you're dumb than to speak and remove all doubt. And I've no plans to be wearing out your welcome hat. For you know I never wanna make you sorry. Am I not too big on that? Not too big on that. No. Not too big on that. No.
Not too big on that. Not too big on that. Yeah, not too big on not too big on, not too big on that.
The last song we're going to do is a song by a band called Dawes, and it's called When My Time Comes. Hope you've all enjoyed these performances, and if you want to talk to us afterwards about the course, you can talk to any of us once we're done here. And there'll be more performances going on for the day here and in the foyer. So thank you all for having us. Hope you enjoyed. Moments of dreams I was offered to save. I lived less like a workhorse and more like a slave. I thought that one quick moment that was noble and brave would be worth the most of my life. So I pointed my fingers, shot a few quotes I knew, as if something that's written could be taken as true. But every path I had taken and conclusion I drew would put truth back under the knife.
You're now the only piece of advice that continues to help. Is anyone that's making anything new only breaks something else? When my time comes, when my time comes, so I took what I want to put it out of my reach. I wanted to pay for my successes with all my defeats. And if heaven was all that was promised to me, why don't I pray for a death? Now it seems like the unraveling is starting soon, and I'm sleeping in hallways and I'm drinking perfume, and I'm speaking to mirrors and I'm howling and moon, while the worse and the worse that it gets. Oh, you can judge the whole world on the sparkle that you think that it lacks. Yes, you can stare into the abyss, but it's staring right back. When my time comes, when my time comes, the whole world on the sparkle that you think that it lacks. Yes, you can stare into the abyss, but it's staring right back. When my time comes, when
thank you all very much. There's going to be more performances after this.
Well, how about that? Thank you so much to our third-year band ensembles and their director, Johnny Scott, for a really gorgeous opener to this afternoon or this morning's performances and chats and presentations. It's lovely to see you all here, and great to have a full house. Anya and I are the coordinators of the course at the moment. And we are going to just give you a little bit of information about what the course entails, what the students study here, and what the opportunities are. So we're just setting ourselves up here, and we'll get going. Have we screens? Yeah, so hopefully you'll be able to follow along and get a little bit of information on the screens, and we'll have a short Q&A afterwards, and then we'll be going on to a different act and a slightly different flavour performance for you at 11:45. So I suppose I might start with the basics anyway. It's a 4-year degree course. It's a BA Honours in Popular Music. It runs throughout 2 semesters per year, so there are 30 credits per semester. And within the semesters, we study some mandatory modules. So there are 5 instruments that we apply on. They have different CRN codes and the CAO. So you study as a principal drummer, electric bass player, electric guitarist, keyboard player, or vocalist. Within that, you study a secondary instrument. So you, as any instrument other than keyboards, you study auxiliary keyboards as a supporting instrument. So you're studying 2 instruments. And then you also study, you sing with a band or you play with a band all the way through the 4 years. That's so it's quite a practical-based course. Other mandatory modules include musicianship, so we do music theory all the way through. We do music and technology all the way through. There are mandatory modules in music business, production studies, which looks at music law, marketing, and that sort of thing. Fiona, am I forgetting any other mandatory modules? Fionn is our resident photographer and also the drum lecturer here. If there's any drummers who'd like to speak to Fionn, he's around afterwards. Keyboard players who study keyboards as a principal instrument study auxiliary drums, and all students actually do a first-year rhythm studies course with Fionn as well in basic rhythm rudiments, which he works with percussion instruments, and which is always really worthwhile in first year as well. Yeah, we're up and running. Are we up? Okay, great. So if we go to the mandatory modules, we'll just see if I've forgotten anything here. So the popular instrumental studies, there is in your principal instrument. So you have individual tuition every week. So you'll be assigned a teacher. Johnny Scott, who was the director of the bands you saw here, is the principal guitar lecturer. And there's also David Keating, who teaches guitar. Noel Barrett is floating around, and he runs the bass department and also the rhythm sectional, which you'll hear after this presentation, which are fantastic. Keys, we have David Hayes, who's running between the music theatre and here, and Denise Crowley as well. And on voice studies, we have Anya Whelan and myself, Trish Rooney, Lorna Moore, and Kelly Petku. So feel free to speak to any of us. Then the popular ensemble workshop is band, which you're split into bands. So for the full 4 years, we work with a band, and then vocal ensemble rhythm section. Contextual harmony is a very, very fancy name they work with popular history and oral skills musicianship, and that works in with popular musicianship as well. And the auxiliary instrumental studies I've mentioned, music technology I've mentioned, and the production studies. So I think I've covered all the mandatory. Over to you, Anya.
Okay, so over the course of the 4 years, we study a different style, a different genre of music in each semester. So in year one, we start off with soul music. So you can see some of the artists that we cover: Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, Booker T and the MGs, Aretha Franklin and Marvin Gaye and Al Green. And they're just a few of the semesters that, or a few of the styles that we cover and the artists that you would be learning all about in your band ensemble and in your vocal classes and in your instrumental classes. And then semester 2 is all about funk. So you can see the godfather himself, Mr. James Brown, and you'll learn all the sort of vocal stylings, all the instrumental characteristics of those styles, and become, I suppose, comfortable with how to play in those particular genres. And in the next semester, so this is the beginning of year 2, so you start off with some blues. Now, I suppose blues will feed in, blues being the father of all rock music and rock and roll music. It's a really important style to understand, and as well for songwriting, it's very important, and we do a little bit more further exploration of that genre in songwriting as well. So then we're on to semester 4, leading comfortably into rock music. And here's Jimi Hendrix himself. He didn't study here, but could have. And you know, when you're studying, I suppose you're trying to understand the different musical qualities, that different sounds that are used on the different instruments, different ways of playing, different ways of setting amplifiers, different vocal stylistic traits. So we cover all of those in each semester. And then year 3, you've heard some of our year 3 students already. And year 3 is all about the singer and the song. And we cover all of that music under the big umbrella that is roots, and I suppose Americana could also be, I suppose, used as a descriptor of that style of music. And also at this point, the students are beginning to write their own music and present it as possible songs to cover within this genre. So all the modules start to feed into each other at this particular point of the degree, and we'll talk a little bit more about the elective modules that you can take as part of 3rd and 4th year. So moving on. Semester 7 and 8, I suppose students tend to maybe specialise a little bit more and refine their own interests in their final year. So some students lean more in a jazz, funk direction. Other students are, interested in pursuing more commercial styles of music, and it's all open and all available to you at this point in the degree to, I suppose, pursue your area of interest on your individual instrument or on your voice. So that is, I suppose, the bones of what the studies are based on for the 4 years of your degree. In years 3 and 4, we start to specialise, and students are starting to think about what way they would like to pursue a career after they have finished their degree. Some students will go on to further study and study master's degree courses in performance or in education or in technology. There are many career pathways, I suppose, that open up in years 3 and 4 of the degree course. And I suppose I'll just run through a few of these different elective modules. So as well as the mandatory modules, which are sustained throughout the 4-year degree programme, we have a specialised performance option for some students who would, I suppose, be hoping to pursue a career in performance. Now, you have to attain pretty good marks all the way through your degree in order to qualify for this particular module, and you get to devise a program of your own choice, and together with your lecturer, you would work towards this. Some students have, come up with original material. Some students would decide on a particular artist or a particular style, and do, I suppose, greater depth of study study into that style over the course of that module, which is a double credit module. We have songwriting as well, which is a very popular module and very creative module. We tap into, I suppose, what creativity is, how to harness it, and how to turn your creative ideas into concrete ideas on paper or in an arrangement and in a song. So we examine different styles, different classic songwriters over the last 50 years and more, and we look at what they have done. We look at the conventions of songwriting, just in terms of form and structure and the different kind of writing styles and writing techniques that are utilised. And we encourage people to sort of, develop their own creativity through writing exercises, through all sorts of interesting ways of tapping into your creativity. And we've come up with some lovely results. One song was played here earlier on that was born out of a songwriting class there a few weeks ago. So it's lovely to hear what can happen when you see something presented in a tutorial and then you hear a full arrangement with a band performed. It's fantastic. It's great to hear it. That leads me on to our arranging module, which is run by Cormac McCarthy here, and students get the opportunity to write for different instruments. It could be writing for a big band or a string quartet or up to full orchestra, and the results that we have, I suppose, been privileged to hear over the years have been absolutely astonishing and really beautiful.
I suppose it's just worth mentioning at this point in the crossovers available in the school, as I'm sure you're aware of the long-standing tradition of classical music for 120 odd years previous. So this course is in its 8th year. So the wealth of talent in the classical sphere, traditional music, and now music theatre and drama really comes into play when we start to specialise in 3rd and 4th year. And we often work with string sections, brass sections, predominantly in the band ensemble, but also students get to mix with these, with students specialising in other genres, and bring in full orchestral arrangements, big band arrangements, and I think that's really one of the strengths of the school here, that we have such a wealth and such a wide breadth of talent and possibility. I thought that was worth mentioning here. Cormac works across the genres, or across the degrees here on the BMOS course also. So there really is a huge possibility in 3rd year and 4th year to specialise and branch out to diversify as much as possible. We are going to have to move on a little bit because the next performance is due to start, and we're hoping Kahala Reynolds might start setting up as we do the last little bit here. But just to give you a quick run through the other options, musical direction, somebody mentioned conducting to me this morning. Musical direction is an opportunity to work with theatre bands and directing pop bands, that sort of thing. There's also sound design, lighting design, and lots of other technical areas. You can specialise in music technology in studio and live sound, music therapy, community music, the histocultural perspectives. €10 for who can guess what that means. That's a prerequisite module which we put in especially to set you up to be ready to do a postgrad in education. So that means if you're interested in secondary school teaching, that this module gives you the opportunity to pursue postgrad, so it's a direct run-on from the degree here. There's obviously folk music, and you can choose a module from anything in CIT. You can do mathematics, you can do dance, lighting, or costume design, makeup. There's all sorts of really interesting modules, and it's completely open. There's class teaching and instrumental teaching, so there's lots of specialist areas. We will have to keep going, but I'd advise you to just have a look at, or to maybe take a tour of the school. We really do have world-class facilities here. It's incredible what's at the students' fingertips. Our performance spaces, the recording studio, it really is. Any international artists, our music industry professionals we bring in are always comment on the facilities here. They really are top class, so we're very proud of them. There's fantastic rehearsal studios, and there's a Steinway in almost every studio in this building. Could you believe that? Only a Model B now, I'm sorry about that. But we also have specially kitted out pop rehearsal rooms that have full PA and full equipment and backline. people have asked about career pathways. Do you want to just run through?
So we have a lot of graduates now who are currently in very successful bands touring around the country and around the globe as you know, band members and also as session musicians, which kind of involves working for an artist in particular, and then you would embark on a tour with them. Recording artist, songwriter, arranger, musical director, basically all of the modules here that we offer at the BAPM and CIT, they do feed into the industry, and it's been specifically designed in that manner so that you are industry ready by the time you leave here. Sound engineering and sound technician, lighting design, if for those who are more technically minded, you might come in as a guitar player, but then once you're in, you might decide, oh, actually music technology is where my heart lies, so I'm going to pursue that. Music educator, music therapy, and music management is another avenue that is possible to explore as well. So I think without further ado, we have a fourth-year band.
Yes, so we did mention, so guys, if you want to come up and get ready, that'd be great. We have a few superstars taking to the stage here. So you do your instrumental tuition, you work in a band, and then we split into rhythm section and voice section. So you're going to get an example now of our fourth-year rhythm section. So there's no singers here, I'm afraid. What's the point in that? So we're going to hear some fantastic instrumental music here, and I'll very quickly, while they are setting up, I'll go through the boring part, the CAO restricted entry. So people are often wondering about the requirements. So just to try to break it down, there's 600 points for your Leaving Cert if you are coming from Leaving Cert, and there's 600 points from the School of Music for your audition, your written paper, your oral test and interview combined. So when you come into us here, all of the audition requirements and sample papers and sample tests are on the website, so www.cit.ie. So have a look and go into your instrument, and you should be able to pull up examples of everything you'll be asked. Don't be afraid to contact us if you have specific questions, that's no problem. But you can see the breakdown here. Your audition is 250 points, your written paper is 150 points, your oral test is 100 points, and your interview is 100 points. It leaves here with our marks and it goes to the CAO. It sort of is out of our hands once it leaves us here. It shakes out through the CAO and we get a list from the CAO, and we're often surprised by the shakeout because obviously we only have 50% of the control of who we've taken. So don't forget about the Leaving Cert. Heads down, into the books now, till next June. So that's how it shakes out. Just to save the date, our auditions are happening in April, so that's the 23rd to the 25th of April 2020. You apply through the CAO, and Nora-Ann Elliott is our degree administrator here, so and everything is on the website if you've missed any of that. So I hope you enjoy the next performance, and okay.
So I'd like to introduce Kahala Reynolds. His stage name is Cat Reynolds. He's one of our songwriters, and he is going to sing one song for us anyway, possibly two songs. We'll see if we're set up and ready to go. So what's the song called, Kahala?
It's called
Ever After Happy. See, he's in CSM now, fourth year, and he's already happy ever after.
So this song is a song that I wrote recently, and it sounds like I'm talking about a person, but it's actually a feeling. So.
Thanks very much, Kahala. Great song. And now we'll just have our fourth year rhythm section band, if they're ready to roll.
Fantasia. Dave Grusin.
And I'm going to do a piece called Fantasia by Dave Grusin. And Noel Barrett, our bass lecturer, also runs this module. So he puts them through their paces This isn't for the faint-hearted, this type of music. They're well able in fourth year. Okay, I think we're ready. Enjoy, everybody.
finish off with two more now. This one, the first one's called Bullet Train, and the second song is called Chromosome. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Can we hear it for the 4th year rhythm section? And a big thanks to Denise Crowley, who stepped in. Denise is actually our keys lecturer here, and she's jumped in to play, so she's our hero today. Our next performance is at 12:30, so we're here for questions. If anybody wants to talk to us, we'll be floating until then. Guys, just to let you know that the 12:30 performance will be happening at about 12:50 now. Apologies, things have run a little bit behind. But we're all in here and we'd be delighted to talk to you if you wanted to come down and chat to us about the course. And we'll be kicking off in about 15 minutes here with the fourth year bands. Thanks.
There, David, are you getting it out in the... Huh? That's not right. That's the thing I was wondering, like, there should have been balancing out. Like when you were playing earlier, I was like, something's wrong there. There's something wrong in the wedge. So. Sorry.
I just might have to have it.
Is this one? Same. One. Hi. Welcome.
Yes.
Why is this? Yeah, I do. One. Okay. Hey. Oh, you're here. Yeah, they're there. Also, I think that we need to all share them, like the three of us. As you know, this mic stand is like broken. Does it work? I kept trying to do it and it just wasn't working. I don't know. Okay, so I don't know.
So I'll just follow whoever else is doing it and
Yeah.
just do it.
We might have to put the words between me and Miriam. Just follow me.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Where's my microphone? That one? I stole yours, haha. You're welcome. One.
Can you go slightly back so that
Yeah?
I can kind of like...
One hand it.
Can we go to...
Just put it right in front of me and then we can all look at it. Do you want to wear your glasses?
No, because I'm vain. Can you not see any of that? Not a thing.
I get another stand and put my phone on it or something.
I'm going to do that. Around that part. Is that Mongolian? Is that attempt at Mongolian? That's what I'll be doing now.
That's fine.
Are you going
Maybe
for a
then
drink
just don't
after?
scare me because I'm driving home. I'll go for coffee. Well, I'm going to eat food here because I haven't got food yet.
Yeah. Am I very close to you? My cheeks are so red. I think I might move back a bit.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm roasting. 1 2 1 1 2.
Okay, so then there's like a break and then it's not like
Yes. Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah, that's kind
Poor Trish was literally stressed. Like, she was, yeah, she had to get them to wait. Like,
And then
yeah.
stunning. See? Oh yeah, you don't know that one. And you don't know Mary's version.
Are you doing this first?
Barry here somewhere. Barry, can we see Barry?
Barry?
Is he here?
Batty?
Betty.
Was that doing the singing outside?
How are you?
Fab.
Yeah.
Do you have a little girl?
Mia. I saw you with her.
Oh my gosh. Good job. Maybe we'll move away from 2 points for the boys. What time are you starting at? After that, supposed to be. What time's it? Oh.
I can't
It's too hot. It's too hot. I know I'm wearing this, but even when I wasn't wearing it. Go for a pint after. Feel like you're a man for so for the pints. I feel like you're a man for the pints. Maybe go for a pint after. Go for a pint after. Just one. That's done.
It's like it's the cheapest car.
Really?
But I was like, I went through Croydon. I said,
Yeah. Did you?
I just really like the colour and the style.
It's so pretty.
And it's actually,
And it's matte.
it's matte finish.
Amazing.
Nice. 250. Someone's going Feels like way too clean and it just ran through the body of Love.
Oh my god. Is there a third year band on? Yeah.
I just want to do backing vocals for
Do it.
I'm so excited for projects.
Yeah.
I'm singing a song as well. He asked me to do a solo song as well, and it's really nice.
These are live streams. She just said it.
Really good.
We don't know who that is though. Oh, Chris, how are you?
All through the set, is it 3 vocals or is there?
I'm just on the one song and it's just 3, yeah.
Oh, there's 4. Who's going to
Is it who's an ass?
Yeah.
That's it.
I've never heard of it.
Son, put out on me. Very good.
Go for it. Chris, just taking a gig there.
Yeah.
I can't light no more of your darkness. All my pictures seem to fade to black and white. I'm growing tired, and time stands still before me. Frozen here on the ladder of my life. Too late took a chance and changed your way of life. But you misread my meaning when I met you. Close the door boy. I made my money and I write the checks, so say my name with a little respect. All my girls successful, and you just all guess. Do I really need to say it? Do I need to say it again? Yeah, you better stop your sweet talk and keep your pretty mouth shut. Boy, don't call me angel, you ain't got me right. Don't call me angel, you can't pay my price. Ain't from no heaven, yeah, you heard me right. Even though you know we fly, don't call me angel. See you here with somebody, see something of my body. Ooh yeah, don't you know that I bite when the sun sets? You can do it but not me, might not work her but not me. Ooh yeah, don't you know that I bite when the sun sets? Keep my name out your mouth, I know what you about. Keep my name out your mouth, yeah. Oh yeah, boy, don't call me angel, you ain't got me right. Don't call me angel, you can't pay my price. Ain't from no heaven, yeah, you heard me right. Even though you know we fly, don't call me angel. I appreciate the way you watch me, I can't lie. I drop it down, I pick it up, I back it off the county line. Fell from heaven, now I'm living like a devil. You can't get me off your mind. I appreciate the way you watch me, I can't lie. I drop it low, I back it up, I know you wanna think you're mine. Baby, I totally get it, you can't get so you can get me off your mind. We're in it together, so don't call me angel. Boy, don't call me angel, you ain't got me right. Don't call me angel, you can't pay my price. Ain't from no heaven, yeah, you heard me right. Even though you know we fly, don't call me angel. Don't call me angel, you ain't got me right. Don't call me angel, you can't pay my price. Ain't from no heaven, yeah, you heard me right. Even though you know we fly, don't call me angel.
Thanks so much, guys. Hi, after 2 songs, hi. We are the 4th year ensemble band, and we have 1 song left, but thanks for listening. Enjoy, apply soon. You should go here. It's really fun. And you get to play songs that are fun, and do other things too. That are fun. Fun? Fun. Oh, this is an original song written by Marion. And she's fun. And really talented. Let's go.
She's got an ocean of tears to cry, a mountain of shame to climb. There's nothing there to light the way. It's a downhill slide to Muddy Bay, and she don't hear sweet music playing or laughter hanging in the air. Leave her behind. Leave her behind. And take a second for the young girl living in a pretty city, got herself a little stone. Now she ragging with two kiddies, little cash, no home. Baby daddy's in a lockup zone. And took a backstreet pickup job, hoping for an uncle got to pay them bills and feed them babies. But she was never coming back from the first shot, hit them pain. Now she's riding with her adversary, and she's sleeping with the fly boy, sleeping in a trolley. She ain't so melancholy, yeah. All the days stay silent, no sight, no sound, no love, no reason, no baby. She don't care, she don't care, she don't wanna be there. But she's too old now, too cold now, her body and soul. You gotta hate her, you shame her, you leave her behind, leave her behind, leave her behind. Oh, who's got time for a washed up lady? Washed up lady, drowning in an ocean of shame. Ocean of shame. And dragging baggage filled with nasty promises of love, life, and a lasting lullaby. And she don't hear sweet music playing or laughter hanging in the air. But take her back in her mind, but her mind is just functioning, and she just screams at the demons. What the fuck is the reasoning? Jesus, Lord, leave her behind, and leave her behind. behind.
And now a third year band is going to come onto the stage. Bye. And have fun. Bye. Thanks, Harry.
Nice one.
So can we hear it for our fourth year band ensemble, ladies and gentlemen? And a huge thanks to David Hayes, who's the fourth year band ensemble lecturer and who stood in on keys for us this afternoon. So thanks, Dave. And also worth noting that that last tune was written by Marion Nolan, who is a fantastic mature student here. She is just brilliant. She's a violin teacher and piano teacher by trade, and she has come in and sung with bands for the first time in starting her studies here, and she really is an example of what a fantastic mature student can be. And that was an original song that she wrote in the songwriting elective, which is Anya Whelan's module, and she's developed it then within the band ensemble. So it's just an example of some of the lovely work that can happen in here. So huge thanks to all the musicians.
So you all know where you are at this point. Yeah. I hope you've all managed to have a look around the building. We'll show you some pictures if you haven't. Has anybody been to this talk already, by the way? You have?
You don't need to stay. You don't need to be put through it again.
Unless you missed something the first time round now, but you are more than welcome to stay and listen again.
And if you do have any extra questions, if we have done the presentation, we'll be floating around for another little while. Thanks a million for coming in, and best of luck with your decisions. Thanks. Lisa, you'll stay. We're very entertaining.
So if you have any questions for us, please feel free to put up your hands and jump in. I'll run you through, I suppose, just the different components, the different subjects that you study during your 4 years here with us at Cork School of Music. We have some mandatory modules and some elective modules. So the elective modules largely kick in years 3 and 4, but in years 1 and 2, the mandatory modules are as follows. So you have popular instrumental studies. That is the instrument that you audition on, will be your primary instrument, and you can apply on drums, bass, guitar, keys, and voice, and that might actually open up a little bit further over the course of the next few years. So keep an eye on that space as well for any transition year students who might be here with us today. You also have popular ensemble workshop. Now you've been hearing the fruits of those workshops here today. That was the 4th year band ensemble, popular ensemble workshop that you just heard. We had our 3rd year band playing earlier on today. And again, each semester has a different style. So those bands will work through those styles as well as working through those styles on your individual instrument. I'll come back to the different genres and different semesters shortly. We also have the musicianship-based modules, contextual harmony and popular musicianship. And those subjects are, I suppose, continuing on with what many of you have covered in the Leaving Cert and developing those disciplines as well to a greater depth of knowledge. We have an auxiliary instrumental studies module, which is mandatory. So anybody who is a singer will take piano, guitars take piano, piano players will take a drums auxiliary instrument, and drummers will take piano as well. So those are all the mandatory modules that we cover here in your 1st and 2nd year. We have music technology and production studies as well, which some people will, I suppose, come in with varying levels of experience and will have had, various experience in studios, or maybe some people will never have been to a recording studio before. So there's an introduction in 1st year to all of that again. And, some people elect then further into the degree to specialise in that area. But everybody has the opportunity to, I suppose, have an introduction to it. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, so I suppose we like to come together as much as possible across the degree. So with your principal instrument, with your band ensemble and your rhythm or your voice sectional, we tend to work in genres as much as possible and study as in-depth as we can within genres, as much as you can in a single semester. These are quite vast. But just to give you a flavour of the type of music you will be studying, there are 2 semesters per year. Semester 1 in 1st year, we start with soul music, which I think is a nice way to start. It sort of it encapsulates a lot of the classic pop techniques. So we've artists like Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, that sort of thing. Moving into semester 2, we go into funk, where we study the music of James Brown and the Meters and etc. etc. That's always fun, and we work in some disco stuff there, and that has tied in nicely to the soul foundation. So that's our year 1. Going into year 2, we start with blues, which is, I suppose, the roots of a lot of the popular music oak tree that develops over the years. So blues is a lovely way to go back and listen to that lovely root stuff with artists like Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and that sort of thing. And then we move nicely into rock, and with artists like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix, Red Hot Chili Peppers, etc. It's vast, really. So that's the first first 2 years, and that sort of sets us up nicely. Moving into year 3, people specialise. So there is an option to specialise. We'll come back to specialised performance as an elective. Where you can branch into your own specific genres. If you stay with the rooted stuff with the popular instrumental studies, we move into roots and Americana, country, folk, singer-songwriter, again, another vast genre that we try to cover in year 3. And that, again, if you heard the third year band ensemble this morning, if anybody was here at 11, we had a lovely example of that stuff. And then moving into 4th year, again, people can specialise a little bit more in 4th year. Some people move towards jazz with classic sort of artists as a Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, that sort of thing, and into the more contemporary jazz world as well. And then other people like to specialise in more commercial pop sound. So that's we study that as well in 4th year. And I've sort of we've mentioned that people can move into electives, and this really does start happening in the 3rd year. There's a huge range and diversity. I've mentioned the specialised performance, and that becomes a 10-credit module where an artist can study and put on full concerts in their own of their own devising, and study with a teacher and specialise as a performer, which is a really interesting one. Other branches that people can move into are songwriting. Anya is the songwriting lecturer. I might let you.
Yes. So I suppose songwriting is one of the very popular modules, and once people start to specialise. So we cover, I suppose, we look at how songs are constructed over the course of maybe the last 50 years or in or around 50 years, looking at, I suppose, well-established writers in different genres. And we examine, I suppose, how to construct a song. So we look at in the headings of form, instrumentation, harmonic information, and how we put together a song, how we harness our creative ideas and how we, construct them, and how we kind of, through the editing process, can draft a really, really good song. So I suppose understanding that it is a craft process as well is really important in songwriting. And then we look a little bit about how you might, have a career as a songwriter, what that might mean, how you might, rather than just relying on having a songwriting career for yourself, that you might look at, being a writer for other artists and looking at publishing deals and how you might go about getting those. So also we have an arranging module, and all of the modules, I suppose, in 3rd year and 4th year, they begin to feed into each other. So if you take a module in arranging, you can arrange one of the songs that you've written for songwriting, record it for a sound engineering project, and submit it across. So the same piece of work is submitted across a few different modules and examined in a few different ways, which can be very fruitful because all the disciplines begin to, I suppose, make sense of each other. They're all pulled together so that it generally kind of tends to work in very much like the industry does itself. And the whole course, I suppose, particularly in 3rd and 4th year, when you are starting to specialise, we are looking to sort of, prepare people as best as possible for the industry to having a music career, which isn't, let's face it, the easiest thing, but it is possible, and we've all done it ourselves, and our students and graduates are now proving that, yes, it is eminently possible. And they're all very, very busy. They keep us in touch with what they're doing. They keep us updated through their various Instagram profiles and websites and social media platforms as to how they're getting on in their endeavours. So arranging, back to our arranging module, that involves writing for other instruments and arranging pieces of music in certain styles for certain, you could have a piece arranged for a jazz big band, or you could have a piece arranged for a concert orchestra. So all of those disciplines are examined, and you're taught how to write for those instruments and how to arrange according to the genre and to what the remit is. Musical direction is another one. Again, that is, I suppose, you're dealing with a smaller group of people, a rhythm section comprising of drums, keys, bass and guitar, and you're arranging, so you're flying through arrangements on a weekly basis, you're leading the section, you're really getting, I suppose, your speed and charting different types of songs, different genres, and I suppose it's all about working at speed because that's what the industry requires. And if you choose to take that module, that is very rewarding and very fulfilling as well. Sound design and lighting design, if you're more technically minded, and you might not, think you are until you come in and have, a massive playground of a building like this and a recording studio like this. I hope you've had a chance to have a look upstairs at our recording studio. There are tours going. You'll hear a bell ringing, and I'd say jump on the train and head up to the recording studio and just get a feel for that space. Have a look at the control room. There's so much there to, I suppose, take in, and there's so much there to, I suppose, explore as well in terms of your own music. So those two modules generally appeal to the people who are maybe more technical minded. Any budding producers out there and engineers would definitely enjoy those modules. There's also, I suppose, for budding music therapists, and music therapy has really begun to, I suppose, be acknowledged more and more in the last 10 years as such a valuable asset in different areas of care across the community. So this is something that we are very interested in here at the School of Music, and we have some wonderful music therapists on our staff, and they take these modules, and also community music. So there are work placement opportunities, I suppose, available as well through those two modules, music therapy and community music, for those of you who are interested in exploring that area. Histocultural perspectives, it's quite a mouthful, but this is a really important module. It's available in second, third and fourth year to any undergrads who are hoping to get further into education, music education, secondary school education in particular. And we have an affiliation with the University of Limerick. Their Masters in Education there, and you need to take the Histocultural Perspectives module in order to, I suppose, have that pathway open to you. Similarly, we have, on some of the other degree courses, the BMUS course, we have other modules available to popular music students as well, such as the Innovation in Folk Music, and there's class teaching and instrumental teaching as well. So if you see yourself getting more and more into music education, those would be of great interest to you.
Yeah, and I suppose just to mention that often music can become a portfolio career, and these can often stem from performers who become interested in other facets of the music industry. So these are all worth exploring on your undergrad and working towards postgrad and specialist areas as well. And there's lots on offer both here and, as Anya mentioned, at the University of Limerick. There's a fantastic pathway for music therapy and education there as well. Anyway, back to the School of Music. So I hope you've all had a look around, and I think you'd agree we have pretty top-class facilities in here. We have, this is obviously the Stack Theatres. This is a sort of a black box theatre, television studio type performance space, and we also have the Curtis Auditorium, which is a large auditorium, 400 seats. And we also do some performing in the recording studio upstairs, so that's a lovely intimate performance venue as well. There is a theatre, the Rory Gallagher Theatre, in CIT main campus in Bishopstown, where we have taken shows and also visiting artists come in and perform in these spaces. They really are state-of-the-art facilities. There was a huge injection at a nice time on the economic wave. We caught it at a nice time, and it is world-class facilities and equipment that we run in here. We often bring in visiting artists and international music professionals, and it's always commented on the standard of the facility here. So we're very proud of it, and be sure to have a look around if you can catch a tour, or just have a little look around yourself. You're more than welcome. So just leading on to career pathways, do you want to take?
Yeah. So I suppose we all have to have the conversation, as I had with my own parents, about how are you going to have a career in music? What is that? So for me, it was performance-based, and I suppose I spent a lot of my time travelling and in recording studios and television studios, but for those, like there are other options as well if performance isn't, the way that you want to continue. So you can, as well as band session musician, you can have a recording artist, songwriter, arranger, and musical director. Now these are often the people, as are session musicians, who are in the background, but they're generally doing an awful lot of the work for the artist out at the front, taking all the glory. But there's a back room and a row of musicians and highly qualified musicians and highly talented musicians who don't necessarily want to be the one who's the household name, but that said, there is a very sort of a fulfilling career to be had, if you choose not to be the person at the front of the stage. There are all sorts of possibilities, also performance-based in that regard. So then for the more technically minded, there are many of our graduates who are working as sound engineers, who have opened up studios, are highly in hot demand all over the country for their sound engineering and technical skills. Music educator, I think we spoke about that. So there are, many opportunities. I suppose music education has always been a very important thread in the fabric of Irish society. We seem to be a very naturally, I suppose, musical nation, whether it's because we're an island or not, I'm not sure, but it's, I suppose, almost every family has, somebody who plays an instrument, somebody who can sing, which doesn't automatically translate to any other sort of continent or state. So it's, I suppose, it's very important to us as people that we have an interest in music, and we are, I suppose, naturally drawn to music. So I suppose music education is very important as well, and our students are finding that once they leave here, the demand is quite significant for music educators, particularly for music educators who come through the Cork School of Music, and it seems to be across all styles, whether it's classical music or contemporary music, and now with a new musical theatre degree as well. So I suppose because this course is very, very much practical, and you're learning by doing. So when you go into the field, into your area of expertise, you are already very comfortable with what you're doing. So you're not really going to encounter anything that will be a huge challenge. Obviously there'll be a learning across, whatever you do after your degree, there's always learning associated, because I suppose music is always developing. Your creative interests are always kind of changing and evolving as you get older and as you have more musical experience. So it never really ends. The journey is kind of constant, which is one of the most enjoyable and fulfilling things about music as well. I think you'll never ever be bored. So whatever avenue you decide to pursue, whether it's education, whether it's technology, the avenues are there. The possibilities are there. Our graduates are proving that it is possible, and they're very, very busy, very active in the music industry, locally, nationally, and also internationally. Music therapy and music management then are other areas as well that we generally feed into in terms of the possibilities for employment afterwards.
So we might just run through the entry requirements, and then we can take some questions, and we can open a Q&A maybe. So our entry requirements, we go through the CAO, and it is a restricted entry course, which means that there is a specific audition and a written paper involved. Just to watch the date, the Thursday the 23rd to the 25th of April 2020 is when the auditions are taking place. The closing date for CAO is the 1st of February. I have spoken to quite a few people, and I've advised really to audition for as many instruments as you have an interest in, really, and that things can shake out. 600 points are determined by your audition and your written paper here, and 600 points are determined by your leaving cert. So they are combined, and they can shake out depending on the demand and depending on your leaving cert results. So give yourself the best foot forward. All the audition papers, examples of the papers and the audition requirements are available on the website, www.cit.ie. So you can download samples, you can take those samples to your teacher or to a private teacher and just maybe brush up and put your best foot forward. Just to go through how the points are broken down here, your audition is 250 points. That's 2 contrasting songs. And you can play or sing to a backing track, or you can bring an accompanist, or you can accompany yourself. The written paper then is 150 points. That's sort of the equivalent of the music leaving cert theories. So that's sort of standard. Again, there's a sample online, so you can have a look at that. And your oral test is 100 points. That's some ear tests. And your interview, we just need to know how much you'll engage in a realistic way with the course. So we just need to get to know your motivation and your experience and that sort of thing. But if you do any little bit of research on the course, the fact you're here, that'll be no problem to you. So that's it, I think. It might be no harm to open it up to Q&A as they come. Have you questions for us?
Yes.
So it depends on, sorry, do you mind me taking this? Okay, so there's 30 credits per semester. The performance is sort of what determines it. So if you take specialised performance, that becomes a 10 credit module. So therefore you'll have 2 electives in addition to that. If you just do the instrumental studies, which is sort of instrumental exams, but not a specialist concert performance, then you have an extra elective module to choose from. So either 2 or 3 elective subjects in 3rd and 4th year, which is over 4 semesters. Does that answer your question? Yeah, great.
Yes. Well, there's an introduction to music management through the songwriting program, because I suppose a lot of people who are involved in songwriting are looking for, I suppose, a way to carry their work into the industry. So it's it's something that we're developing over the next few years as well, just a further study of management.
And also there's a mandatory module called Production Studies, which happens in the 2nd year of the degree, and that covers music law, and it covers copyright issues, that sort of thing. And it also it covers budgeting, marketing, social media stuff, so that kind of marketing, PR stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Say that again?
What exactly do you teach in regards to music education?
In the music education, well, there are a few different strands. So the there's class teaching, so you can learn, and that can deal with younger people. So if you're looking to do music with children, there's specific class teaching module. Then there's community music, which is teaching music within the community, but that would be more in specialist community sort of setting.
Instrumental teaching as well.
And instrumental teaching would deal with teaching specific instrument pedagogy in your principal instrument. I suppose if you wanted to, as Anya mentioned, the postgraduate in music education would deal with secondary school teaching, and you'll have the prerequisites from the course here with the histocultural perspectives module, and you can go forward to do a postgrad in secondary school teaching specifically. Does that answer your question? Yeah?
Yes.
How long is postgrad?
The postgrad is 2 years. Yeah.
It's a master's, all the master's programs. It stems from, I suppose it used to be called a HDIP, and now that has changed across the whole board to a master's qualification.
In education, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Popular Instrumental Studies? Yeah, so Popular Instrumental Studies is your instrumental tuition. So it's you're assigned a teacher, and you get individual instrumental tuition on your principal instrument. So, and then you'll study song work, you'll study techniques in your principal instrument. Within studies, you'll do some sight reading, etudes and scales and modes and that sort of thing. A singing lesson, exactly. Yeah, and exactly, that's what it is. Yeah, singing. So bass, drums, keys, guitar, and voice lessons. Yeah, exactly.
And just to remind everybody that you get individual tuition on your first instrument as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a weekly lesson.
Yeah.
Yes? There are 40 places available for the BA in popular music, and I suppose there are no sort of definite numbers on each particular instrument, but say for voice, it has been somewhere in the region anywhere between 13 places and 18 places. Then there could be 8, 10 or 12 guitar places. It just depends on the applications, and it also depends on the leaving cert, the cumulative, I suppose, combination of the two sets of results. Then those numbers kind of crunch down, and we never really know exactly how many will come in on each instrument. Yes?
So they fluctuate again depending on the demand. So they were somewhere between 750 and 1,000, and again that was instrument dependent, and they change every year. If you have sort of 900 as a benchmark, but it can be above that, but generally in around that sort of way. Yeah. Yeah. The most common careers. So we actually have a lot of our graduates are predominantly, we're in our 7th year of the degree, and a lot of our graduates are either studying postgrad, that we've plenty of students in University of Limerick, who are doing music therapy and music education, so they're still in further in postgraduate education. And we have a lot of performers, songwriters, session players. We have examples here actually of some. Can we play?
Don't know.
No. Can we play that, Barry, as an example? No, it's a poor Barry. Yeah.
So
there's some examples here of some. Oh, great! Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. So we're going to play for you an example of some music produced by actually a BMUS graduate, Bill Maybury, whose stage name is 1,000 Beasts. He does some fantastic. He works with the RT Concert Orchestra, and he's a fantastic producer. And he works with us regularly. He's worked with a lot of our degree singers, and he's in contact with us on a regular basis. We're going to play you a sample of one of his recent releases featuring Mary Beth, who's a vocal graduate. Play button seems to be on your screen and not ours. We open the slide. That one. No, you'll have to go onto our Facebook, I think.
Just while they're looking for that, some of the graduates, because they do music technology here, so quite a few of them are going into the computer science, like.
Not sure why. It doesn't
I
actually
know I
click on
tried
that.
some of the reading last year, and they said they were getting into the sound design. So that whole world as well. I think in music therapy, music teaching. What happens is that people come in and they want to, they want to be a singer or they want to be a guitar player or whatever it is that inspired them in the first place. But after 4 years, or even after a couple of years, they realize that their interests have changed, they've shifted, and their strengths lie in arranging. You get the old cliche, oh, I certain aspects of that. Writing music for animation or film. I might record, sample, and do all those weird wonderful things that people like Barry. But you see how it works. It's not just, right, I'm going to be a singer, and that's me. You might find that your interests change. It is normal. Don't know what the question was. Oh, by the way, I work here.
Thanks. That's Johnny Scott, our guitar.
Well, that's obvious, Johnny.
So let's have a listen now to the work of some of our recent graduates, hopefully.
Count your blessings on both hands before you let me slip to the back of your mind with every cup you sip. Ooh, I've been treated like someone that you should. Ooh, I've been feeling something you should know. Trust me when I say I'm not the only one who wants me. A parade of words behind enough to get it. They'll say it's not a puzzle if you roll dice. You might not get so nice. Gone before you take no test. No, I won't buy those alibis. These confessions are worthless. With every tear that I don't cry. Ooh, the perfect stranger till I let you in. You win. Now the perfect stranger, but I hate the sin. Prove you wrong. Trust me when I say I'm not the only one who wants me. A parade of words behind enough to get it. They'll say it's not a puzzle if you roll dice. You might not get so nice. Oh, trust me. Trust.
Okay, so that's one of our recent graduates. I'll see if I can find. Yeah. I don't know who he is.
The last hint we got of Bill was he sent us, we saw a picture of Bill sitting on a Lear jet, just flying out of Los Angeles with some big shot. Did you get the picture?
So Bill actually, yeah, Bill is now based in LA. He graduated last year, and he chose to go down the songwriting route, but not necessarily as a performer himself. So he really had his mind set on being a writer for other artists, and he completed an internship with a really, really important company in LA called Crush Music Management, and he has interned for them for a couple of months, and now he's working for them for a few days a week. He gets to attend lots of different important industry meetings, and as a writer then he's with a team of writers who write for people like Sia, Lord, Panic at the Disco. There's a number of huge hitting artists that he's now sort of standing in the periphery and feeding his music into the very commercial and very much mainstream industry, and he's having a great time and gives us regular updates and sends, I suppose, when I asked him, what is it about the meetings and his experience nowadays that he couldn't have done, already, and he said there's nothing that he could have done without having had the course behind him, that he would never have had the confidence as a musician or as a songwriter, that he developed his songwriting skills through and you know, through musicianship as well, everything kind of fed into his own creativity, and I suppose developed it over the few years. And he said he can now speak with very established, I suppose, songwriters and artists who were, you know, the heavy hitters in the music industry in this day and age, and he can now kind of communicate with them in a very professional way, which he says he would never have been able to do without the course. So it's just great to get that feedback and to see that it's working, and all the different modules that, you know, I suppose people feel that there's, you know, there's a lot to take on when they come in, but it does all start to I suppose, cross-pollinate and feed into each other's modules as well as the course, as you go through the 4 years of the course. And, you know, those are the skills that the industry does require and demand.
And I suppose Bill is a great example of a student who just he had a wide variety of skills coming in here, and he was really involved in many aspects of the course, and brought a lot of himself, his enthusiasm, all his skill set. He was a fantastic student, and we're here to serve the students and to develop the students' potential. And so, you know, a lot of what you bring, I've spoken to many people this morning who have multiple instruments, who are orchestral arrangers, who are songwriters, and everything you bring with you and you develop with our guidance can be catered for as well. And Bill is a fantastic example of a student who really was engaged and involved. Another fabulous example, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hugh Dillon. So yeah, we're delighted for Bill, and we'll be following him with interest and delight, I'm sure.
And these are just some other, I suppose, recent releases by graduates. There's a band called Shukra who are gaining a lot of media attention at the moment, and 3 of our students, our graduates, are members of that band and very much involved. We have a singer-songwriter, Eve Clegg, another singer-songwriter, Sarah Ryan, and a musical director, drummer, creator, composer Barry Wilson, who they're all, you know, very active in the music industry now, and they're releasing regularly. And these are just an example of some of their recent releases. I think I have another one here for those of you who'd like to hear it. Maybe I'll try it this way. Yeah, here we go. So this features many of our graduates. It's not just Barry. Barry's the guy on the left, but he's accompanied by many of our past students as well, our graduates. Oops, lost that one. Here we go.
Yes. Haha. Been a bit all over the shop, to be honest. Here we go. I've been trying to find my bearings. Been staring unnecessarily into space. Been hiding in a microclimate, trying to face opening up the eyelids. If I could wise up some bit, I'd only be delighted. Stifled for the minute, figuring out where I fit in. It's like my atoms are sitting different. Yeah, I'll heed and listen before I'm up and moving with a new force. Yeah, when we're connected, I feel elected.
Celia, beauty free from aging grace. Your sun's illuminating, it knows no shade, no. But everything you gather must grow with haste. If time brings wings to fly, Celia, don't wait.
Every time you step in, happiness sort of creeps in. Sounds weird, but that's a real thing. I mean, I feel less disconnected. Strangely, you stretch my perception. I see good things on my radar, like all's clear, wunderbar. Time to go tumbling in, we'll worry about it again. Yeah, look as I happily grin. Not out of my depth or anything. I'm opened up, fragile enough, ready for the win or for the lesson.
to leave when I see myself as somebody else. Well, our love survives as our ambitions divide.
Beauty free from aging grace. Your sun's illuminating. It knows no shade, no. But everything you gather must grow with haste. If time brings wings to fly, Celia, don't wait. What you gather still must grow. 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 What you gather still must grow.
So that, and it's just worth noting, I think I spoke to a potential drum student who asked would it be just drums they'd be playing all the time. That Barry is a drum graduate, so and he chose the arranging. Did he do songwriting elective? He did songwriting and arranging as an elective, and this is the work he's producing now, which is fantastic. And also, I think we have one more clip that we might be able to leave you with. We spoke about the arranging module and just the opportunity to cross over between the BMOS, the classical degree course, and the pop degree course. And this is a lovely example. Cormac McCarthy is our arranging lecturer, and he wrote this piece for to feature a guitar, an electric guitar, and a big band. And we brought in Ariel Posen, who's a Canadian, internationally famed Canadian guitar player, and he came in to play this piece called Grey. So we might play out with this one. If there are any other questions, we might just floor them before we play it. Is there anything else before we leave you?
Outside of the actual course itself, what sort of extracurricular, was there opportunities to be involved in an orchestra or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, they're free choice electives throughout from second year onwards, and you can take an elective across CIT, which includes the Maritime College of Ringaskiddy and the main campus in Bishopstown, which have an endless directory of modules. So you can take anything there. So you could take a module in choral arranging, classical conducting module. So there's scope, absolutely. Yeah.
There are also choirs, John, who you're asking.
Yes.
One of my guitar players, I teach the guitar, but he's singing in the chamber choir.
Capella lyric. Fleischmann
choir. Yeah.
And they just, you went over to
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're singing like Palestrina and Bach, Mass,
Yeah.
all sorts of,
Yeah.
It's there. There's a big band, if you play brass, you join a big band.
Yeah.
If you play violin, you join the symphony orchestra. There's quartets, there's traditional Irish music. I mean, it's really all there for the taking.
And there's the new music theatre Bachelor of Arts as well. So there's music theatre modules that you can take. There's also CIT societies and students' union that get involved in all sorts of things. And there's actually a CIT musical society as well. So there really is a huge scope. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, good.
How much of the course is theory and practice? What is it like?
It's probably 70-30. Like we learn by doing, I suppose. That's our main modus operandi here. It's very practically based. So yes, there will be some academic writing required, but those skills are really important to have just for life in general. If you were at some point in your life looking for funding, you might need to apply to the Arts Council. You'll need to know how to structure writing as well. And, if you wanted to pursue further study or do a PhD at any point, you'd need to have academic writing skills. So we do find that it's necessary, and we enjoy encouraging people actually to refine their writing skills throughout the degree. But again, it's still sort of 70-30%, I would say.
And regarding the music theory side of things, we implement it into the practical stuff right the way through, so that it's not separate. So any of the theoretical stuff in the musicianship that you're learning is used practically all the way through. So we really endeavour to connect the two as well, but it's very much practical oriented. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Will we play out? So this is the CIT Cork School of Music Jazz Big Band featuring Ariel Posen, and the music is written by our arranging lecturer Cormac McCarthy. So thank you very much for coming out today, and spread the word and stay in touch. And I'll have a few slips of paper and a pen. If you want to write your email address, we'll keep you on a mailing list. And best of luck with all of your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Recorded in the recording studio upstairs, just so you can familiarise yourself with the space.
Also, just before you go, we have some more live streaming of some of our performance exams and performance concerts coming up. So keep an eye on our website. It'll be the first or second week in January when those concerts will be happening. So if you want to see what that module looks like, you can join the live stream at the time. Thank you, everyone.